Some of you guys are wanting to get into trucking. However, you have rent, you have an apartment, you have a home. So what are you going to do with it while you're on the road? Ubiest of the tubiest, the best YouTube subscribers on the planet. That's you. And I'm 50 plus. So today I'm going to answer a question that's actually asked of me quite a bit. And, outside of driving trucks, I have other businesses, you guys know. I have real estate, and I also have a youth sports marketing business. Okay, where your questions are is real estate. You want to know, you want me to talk a little bit about real estate and real estate investing. This is a trucking channel. It's not a real estate investment channel. So in order for me to talk about that and make any sense about it, I need to gear it towards trucking. Okay. So most of us have, at my age, 50 plus years old, a lot of us already have property, a home. And if no one's at home and you're going to be on the road sometime months at a time, would I suggest you keep your home or sell it? And that's a very fluid question, which is why I've always been reluctant to answer it. And it's because each and every one of us have different situations. Okay, if you own the home outright, maybe you can sell all of your belongings and rent the house out. It makes no sense really to store things. It really doesn't, because if you store, let's say $4,000 worth of goods in a storage that you pay $100 a month for, that means you're going to pay $1,200 a month to store $12,000 a year to store $4,000 worth of goods. In 2 years, half the value of it is already gone down the drain. Okay, you could have thrown away half of that stuff and be in the same position. So you understand what I'm telling you when I say, if you're going to store your goods, you should not store them any longer than the value of those goods. Okay, because it doesn't make sense. You're going to begin to lose money. You're going to get to a point where you could have just sold all that stuff, pocketed the money, and then later on purchased it and been better, in a better position than to hold on to things that are sentimental to us. Okay, sentimental things are only valuable to us. They are not valuable in the open market, and therefore it makes no sense to try to store things while we're out on the road. Now, those parameters change. It depends on who we are, what those items are. But the fact that you're going to be paying to keep things lowers the value of the things that you keep. And those things depreciate over time. Those factors never change. You got to make your own mind up about that, okay? But let's say you do that. You sell your goods, you clean the house up, and you get your property ready for renters. That way you can make some money on the property, or if you have a mortgage, you can put someone in the property that would pay you what it's going to take to keep that property going. And the goal is, what you hear on infomercials in the middle of the night, is that they're going to pay your house off with renters. Um, I wish that you were asleep instead of listening to that stuff, but let's just say that's the way you're gonna go. That way you can keep the property. Some people think, well, I'm gonna do this, and then when I'm done driving in 10 years, I'm gonna move back in the house. You that may be a good thing for you. Here we go. You're gonna move into a house that you rented out for 10 years to strangers. I'm telling you, your house is going to be rolled hard and put up wet. By the time you get back to it, you're not going to want to sleep in it, and not without putting a bunch of money into it. So the thing is that you at that point, you need to determine whether or not that is your home or is it a piece of investment. Okay? And if it's a piece of investment, it doesn't matter. Just make that money off of it. And when you're done, sell out the rest and put the rest of that money in your pocket, move on to another one. There's no sentimental value attached to an investment. Okay? So a lot of things come into play. A lot when it comes to real estate investing. Okay? Ideally, if I am single and I have a home with a mortgage on it, and I'm gonna drive trucks, I'm getting out of that house and I'm gonna sell it. If I have equity, I'll put the equity in the bank. And if I don't, I'm in trouble because I made a bad investment buying that house to begin with. But keeping people in it, renting it, and paying the note is not going to fix that problem. Okay? Meaning that you are upside down in the house. This is what I'm getting at. But if you're not, sell it. Sell it. The fact is, you are never, I don't care what anybody tells you, you will never, I don't care if you put somebody in the house and let them pay the mortgage for you while you're in the house, you will never outpace the interest that you're paying on that loan. Okay? The house is going to depreciate as you rent it out. Okay? That's a fact. That's real estate. That's the way it works. Okay? Okay, so the only time you're going to make money on it is when you get those renters out, and then you turn it back into a homestead type of property. Okay, there is a difference because in a rental property, you're not going to put homestead type of carpet in it. You're not going to fix it like it was a homestead. You might patch things up here and there. It is a piece of investment, and you're going to withdraw as much of it as you can. You're not going to keep putting things into it. But if it was a homestead, you're going to put some plush carpet in. Okay, you're going to put a higher grade paint in. You're going to paint ain't going to bleed through in a few months. You're going to put a better quality of roof on it. You following what I'm saying? So there is a difference. If you're not going to live in the property, my advice to you is to put it on the market and sell it. Now, what are you going to do when it's home time? You are basically a nomad truck driver at that point, and home time is wherever home is. Okay? It is. The reason it's very difficult to pinpoint what to do with your property, everybody's situation is different. Let's say that you have joint custody of your children through a previous relationship, and when it's time for you to visit with your children, or your children come to visit with you, where do you take them? Because you don't have a house at that point. You're going to put them in a truck with you and ride around, that ain't going to fly. Okay, so these type of things you might want to take in consideration. But even then, find a way for that solution, because it's not worth not finding a solution just to pay out mortgage payments on a piece of property that you are linked to. However, you're not there. Okay, and you won't be. The fact is, OTR drivers are out 4 weeks and home 4 days. So you're going to be gone for the whole month. Nobody's there to take care of that property. They're not there to clean up the grass, pick up the paper, collect the mail, all that good stuff. In and out of the house, keep an eye on it. You get home and your house half empty because somebody broke into it. When will they break into it? You don't know. I mean, well, I can do an alarm system. I can do all. I mean, you can start getting those wheels are turning. But always remember, you cannot outpace the mortgage. You can't. You cannot. You would have to collect at least double your mortgage. You have to collect that and send it to the mortgage company to make up for it. And on top of that, when a renter calls you and say, "Hey, I got a problem," you're not even in the state. What are you going to do? These type of things are extremely important to think about when you decide that you want to keep your property and rent it out. Okay, so my advice to you is to sell that property if you're not going to treat it as an investment. Okay, meaning no sentimental value towards it, and then you better have a plan. Okay. And for that, if you guys are interested in what a plan of action is, that's kind of one-on-one type of situation because I don't know what your finances are. Okay, I don't know what your mortgage interest rate is. I don't know what the going rate is for rent in your area for the type of property that you own. Okay, so a lot of differences there. Okay, so. A more specific question was when I said I had to come home and take funds that I earned, and I had to purchase a house. I had to do something with that house, or else I was going to be eaten up by income tax. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that in about 2 or 3 minutes, and then we're going to be done, okay? Because my situation is a little bit unique in comparison to most who flip houses, okay? And it's because during the time flipping houses was lucrative several years ago, I made a lot of money, but I did not realize the money. And realize money means you go to work and your boss gives you a paycheck, a little bit goes to 401k, and then the rest goes to you into your bank account for you to consume. The part that goes into your bank account for you to consume means that you have realized that money. The portion that you went to your 401k was not realized. That was money that was stored away that you do not have control over, okay? Direct control over, okay? But all the rest of it, you have control over it. You have realized that money. Therefore, you have to pay income tax on that money, okay? So with real estate, what happens is I would find a house, I would remodel that house, and then I would put it back on the market and I would sell it. There's be a difference, a gap between what I spent to fix the house and what I got for it. And that amount I rolled over into it's called a 1031 exchange, okay? It's a real estate tax code that allows a property owner to move the monies from one piece of property to another piece of property that is like kind property with a value that exceeds the previous, okay? You can do that, and then you don't have to pay taxes on that money because you did not realize the money. You can't, it's not in a check where you can go take it to your bank and then put it in and then consume off of it. That's not how it works, okay? So that's what I did. I kept flipping until I got enough money to build a new construction for a rent property, and I kept doing it over and over and over. So now I have several rent properties, but they are all paid for, okay? So that's makes my situation a little unique because during that time, everybody's making a whole bunch of money, but they were consuming so many of it. So when that time came, a lot of guys who invested in real estate flipping houses, they went down. I was fortunate enough to have someone teach me, and I listened, and now I own all my properties. Okay, so here's the problem. Each one of those properties pay a mortgage to me, or pay rent to me, but there is no mortgage. So that means each month, all of those houses send me, over $1,000 a piece, And that happens every month. So if I did like your boss pays you, and I take the rent money and put it in my pocket, and I realize that income, then I have to file tax against that income. And it's taxed a little different because it's called passive income, which is a little different than earned income. Earned income you pay more tax percentage on earned income than you do on passive income. And here's the sense when people say rich people don't pay taxes. That's not true. They pay taxes, but the tax code that they use for their income is lower than the average, because the average person realizes all of their income. You following what I'm saying? And the average American derives their income from work. So it is earned income, and earned income is taxed way up here with people who have money, who gets the bulk of their earnings from another source that they don't have to actually go out there and backbreak for. That is called passive income, and it's taxed a lot less. Okay, so that's where that theory of whether people don't pay taxes, that's not true. In fact, the amount I pay in taxes I do each year probably trumps 5 of y'all put together. And that's because the amount of money that's brought in from the investment properties. Now, there's a way around that big fat me paying 5 times you guys pay. Is a way around that, and it is to never realize that cash. So as the checks are going into the account from the rent, rather than taking that money and buying Mercedes-Benz and a brand new house and all this other kind of stuff, it goes directly into an investment account. And an investment account, I can't touch it because it's like a 401k type of thing. You just can't go in there and just pull it out. I mean, when you do, it's a big penalty for it, right? You pay this big chunk of money. So what you do is what I do is once it gets to a certain amount, then the tax attorney will say, you need to exchange this money, because if you don't, you're going to have to realize it, because the government says you can only put X amount of dollars in those accounts, okay, in a given period of time. So you can't like tax shelter that type of money in that form. So that's the reason why I said I had to come home and buy more property. I had to do basically an exchange, go purchase some houses with that money, and then start the process over again, so to go buy more. That's how it truly works, okay? Now, I'm going to end this real quick on this note. I just gave you a lot of information. The information that I was really kind of reluctant to give, because as new guys into this company, into this industry, driving trucks, you hadn't yet built up this sort of thing. Okay, so you're not either you're not ready to purchase a house. You definitely aren't ready to do real estate, and I really don't advise anybody to do that. Okay, all I advise you to do is pay yourself first. Pay yourself first. I don't care how much you make every week. Doesn't matter. 10%, the first 10%. I know you open up the Bible and you read the Bible, you listen to guy in the pulpit tell you what to do with that first 10%. I'm telling you right now, the first 10% is yours to keep. You take that first 10% and you put it in a safe investment. Okay, that's for you and your future. Nobody else. You and your future. You have 90% to do whatever else you're going to do with it. And if you want to open the Bible and listen to the preacher tell you to do something else with a percentage of it, then you can do that out of that 90. But nobody tells you what to do with that first 10% but you. And I promise you, over time, you will see the growth and develop a good habit. Okay. What you don't want to do is turn on the TV and look at flippity floop, property flop floop, or whatever the crap. Hey man, that's TV. That's TV. You know, the people on there buying old raggedy houses, and then when you get done with it, they're this big, huge, extravagant thing, and oh, we made this much money on it. Yeah, that's TV. That's TV. That's not how it works. Investors don't do that. Those houses that you see on TV getting flipped and flopped or flooped or whatever they're doing, look at those houses. Do they look like an investor put money into it? Go look at a area that has obviously been maybe even here in Houston, where we had a lot of flood damaged homes, and people come through there and they rip them apart, gut them, and put new sheetrock and everything, and new carpet, and go through there, new cabinets and everything, and then look at those houses where an investor had came through there and rehabbed that house and got it ready for sale, ready for the market, and then look at that flippity flooped house. You're going to see two totally different houses. One is on the market to make some cash. The other one is on the market to make a show. Okay? So don't listen to that sort of stuff, man. I don't do house flipping anymore, because that market is really not good right now. It really isn't. And until the average person can easily get a mortgage, I advise all of you guys, don't invest your money in that. Take that 10% at minimum and put it in an investment vehicle that will serve you better. Okay, so 21 minutes. I hope this wasn't too long, and I know I didn't give you guys all of the information that you may have wanted, but it is so, investment in real estate is so entrenched. It is such a big deal. It's going to be very difficult for me to give you guys the guts of that in a short period of time. Okay, and it's what I've learned over several years, and I can't give it to you in 20 minutes, but I hope I give you some. Okay, if you got any personal issues or questions or whatever, don't ask that question down below. Okay, just ask me for my email, 50plus truckertalk@gmail.com. 550, spell out the word plus, truckertalk@gmail.com. 50plus truckertalk@gmail.com. Send me an email, and maybe we can confer back and forth in your specific situation. Maybe I can give you some pointed advice. Okay, all right guys, until we meet again, deliver undistracted. Here's your boop.